My name is Diana Valle-Riestra. I've been at FIU for 10 years. I was at the School of Education. I was the director of a program here called Panther Life, and another program that was a newer program called Panther Plus. Both of those programs were post-secondary programs to provide opportunities for individuals with disabilities to have a college experience. I did not start in the field of disabilities, really focusing on young adults. I actually started in the field focused on early intervention and early childhood special ed. So I really think that my career has expanded tremendously from really looking at the needs and priorities of infants, toddlers, and preschoolers all the way up to young adults with disabilities, and really looking at issues related to access, participation, as well as really looking at the family and family-centered approach to services. So I'm happy to be here and collaborate both with the Honors College and with Karen Peterson.
Thank you. Yes, hi. Thank you so much, Pioneer and Diana, for inviting me. My name is Karen Peterson. I'm the artistic director and the founder of Karen Peterson and Dancers. We are a mixed ability, physically integrated dance company, 27 years old. And Pioneer asked me to give a little bit of background and then to discuss some of the social political issues of having a nonprofit dance company in the Miami-Dade community. So I just started as a BFA, Boston Conservatory grad, went to New York, came to Miami, danced contemporary dance, and one day someone called me and she says, "Hi, my name is Mildred. I use a wheelchair and I want to be in your dance company." So she was a woman who was 55 years old, and I said, "What?" And this was like 1989. And, you know, I gave her the benefit of the doubt, and I met her, and she had such a strong voice about who she was as a woman, raising 3 children from her chair. She had multiple sclerosis. She loved dance, so I made a dance for her. And our first performance was 1990 at the New World School of the Arts. You probably know the New World. And ever since then, for 27 years, we've been creating a new season of work. We've traveled to 10 countries overseas, introducing our theory and our syllabus. And we also work with 5,000, we have worked with 5,000 teenagers with special needs. And we introduce dance to them as not only as a healing tool, but as a, you know, physically social tool, and to give them more confidence, obviously. So what we're going to do today, I have 3 of my lovely dancers, Sean, Katrina, and Marjorie. And I'm going to show you, after Deanna and I speak one more time, how we put dances together. You know, like, how do we get 2 populations to mesh as an ensemble? I mean, the great thing about when I started to think about this in 1990, you know what was happening. The American Disabilities Act just came into process. And there were, finally, there were dance workshops on the West Coast, San Francisco. I flew out, I took a lot of these workshops, and people who were using wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, were on the floor with trained dancers, you know, like me. I mean, I was much younger, but I was just saying, wow, this is so cool, because it really informed me about how I moved. And it informed me in a way that was totally different than all of my traditional, you know, traditional dance training. Yeah, that's what we do. And there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of issues, there are a lot of sort of setbacks, but I really believe that the language of movement and dance is an incredible format of communication, and it's universal. When we go to countries overseas, no one speaks English, someone is deaf, someone is blind. It is our job to make a dance for the public, to show individuals how do we create something which everyone is so different, physically and politically, and obviously geographically. So that's why I really feel, you know, dance is an incredible, incredible tool. And plus, we get to know each other through movement very intimately. And I've been so blessed with these 3 beautiful dancers. They've worked with me so long, and you are all going to get a chance to move with them after I show you some of the basic improvisational structures.
Wonderful. So I was also asked to give a talk because, like Pioneer said, for the first time this semester, I have created a class that really is almost like a social experiment right now. It's a class that I'm really piloting through the Honors College, IDH 3034. I have a lot of my students here that are gonna participate in today's symposium. And when I created that class, obviously when you create something, you have a vision, and then there's the reality, the implementation of that idea. And one of the things that I'm really enjoying about the class is that I am seeing the development and the evolution of bringing a group together and trying to begin to lay the groundwork for building a community of learners that are really diverse in intellect, in values and beliefs, in upbringing, in coming from different parts of the country, different parts of Florida. And I'm curious to see how our work in the fall is going to really translate into the kind of work we're going to do in the spring. But when I envisioned this class, I envisioned that there were going to be like 4 different areas to this class. One is trying to propose that we all have the ability to create change in our communities and our environment through an adaptive leadership model, which assumes that adaptive leadership is not leadership that has to be taken from a point of authority or a position of power, but it's a leadership framework that any of us could really sort of take on because it's all about interactions that you have with others. It's about really looking at your environment and making interpretations of that environment. And also creating change, which is the action part of it, which I think is important. Many of us, maybe we are in positions of power and we think a lot and we reflect a lot about what we want to do, but it's that next step, the step that requires an action that sometimes we hold back and we don't take that next step. So I've been proposing that leadership, adaptive leadership framework that comes out of the Harvard Business School to my class. We've been reading a book about it. We've been presenting all throughout the semester some adaptive challenges, which are separate and very different from technical problems. So that's one distinction. You know, what is a technical problem? Typically there's a solution to it. You can find it in a policies and procedures manual, or you can go to an expert and they will help you solve that problem. But adaptive challenges are very complex. There is no answer. There's nowhere to go. It's the group of people that has to come up with that solution. And that's really hard work. And that work is very risky because it requires you to step out of your comfort zone. So that's one thing we've been doing. And we learn that model through different metaphors. Like, what does it mean to get on the balcony? What does it mean to lead with a sacred heart? What does it mean to hold steady? So we learn the model through a series of metaphors. So that's one of the big components of the class that we're doing this particular semester. We've also spent some time in the class trying to think about disability and trying to look at this issue of disability from what are the meanings and the definitions that are given to disabilities in society. So we can definitely define a disability biologically and medically, but it's more complicated when we try to really define that disability through a social context, through those lenses where disabilities might be socially constructed. And when you start looking at the social construction of a disability, then you start looking at your society and you start looking at spaces of inclusion and spaces of exclusion. Why are there certain barriers that society puts up that excludes people from participating and actively participating? So we've discussed those definitions of disabilities that are really cultural and societal, and how complex it is to kind of get a hold of, of really understanding what a disability is. And then hopefully next semester, we'll move into really talking about what is meaningful access and participation for individuals who are diverse. So, and who sets the parameters of giving access to individuals with disabilities and allowing them to participate. And many times what happens is there's the creation of barriers. There's lots of barriers. There's lots of people that will say, oh no, we can't let them dance because they're gonna get hurt. That's a liability issue. Or no, we can't allow them onto a college campus because then we can't track them all over the college environment. So a lot of issues and barriers start being set up when we start talking about access and meaningful participation. And then finally, this is definitely what we're going to be looking at next semester through a lot of advocacy projects, this issue of advocacy. Advocacy means and implies taking action. You have to identify a cause. That cause has to move you. There needs to be passion behind it, and then you need to take an action. So hopefully next semester my students are going to be able to start developing and implementing some of their advocacy skills, whether that's within the field of disabilities or outside the field of disabilities, it doesn't matter, as long as that there's passion behind a cause and that you want to take action. So I'll let you know in a year from now how it goes, the class, but so far, without taking any kind of scientific data collection, procedures, I can tell you that from anecdotal records, I've had students in the class come up to me and provide me with some of their opinions or send me emails. And I know that there's an increase in awareness of diversity in the classroom. And I hope that with activities like this and events like this sponsored through the Honors College, that we can start exposing ourselves to more of this disability on our campus, intellectual disabilities, physical disabilities, and awareness within our campus setting. So thank you.
So this is incredible, because 27 years ago, someone, who used a wheelchair would be called handicapped. And that word is no longer used. And then it was physically challenged. And that's sort of outdated. And then it was like disabled dancer. And you don't say, and so, the whole awareness of disability has really, it's really come to terms, and it has grown and developed in a very positive way. So, the UK, London, has a dance company called Conduco. 30 years ago, they were offering full-time salaries, full-time health benefits for their dancers. So consequently, their dance, the artistic product in the UK is incredibly, incredibly high. We cannot control our government. We cannot control who's handing out the grant dollars, but the money definitely helps. More money you have, more time you have to experiment and work, and also the artistic quality is higher. One of the problems, I think, with and there are mixed ability companies all over the country. There's a little consensus as to what is artistic excellence. What is artistic excellence? What is good? What's not good? What's unfair? I mean, you hear this all the time in any dance concert that you go to. And I think that is just something any artist, visual artists, theater writers, they struggle with. They struggle with that. Is it artistic? Does it have excellence? Does it have weight? Does it have integrity? I just want to say some funny little things about access, because we've been to places. Sean has been up a kitchen elevator. We were in Montenegro, in Eastern Europe, and there was no elevator. They put us on the second floor. How the heck are we going to get Sean up to the second floor? Well, we had to put her in the kitchen. Kitchen, what do they call that, an elevator? It's, yeah, where they take the dishes. And we've been to performances many times where, the chairs and the dancer just gets lifted up and put on the stage, So I really like what you said about, finding a way, like being an advocate, what you're passionate about, because you will find a way, and there are always problems to overcome. And I'm just thinking of some other stories. We have many. First time we performed in Italy, I didn't realize there's a slope stage. What happens when you have a wheelchair on a slope stage? The whole choreography had to change because the dancers kept rolling down stage. I said, whoa. So, that's just another idea of having to, what's the word, deal with and make changes. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, who has the power and the authority to answer the question, who can have access and participate within an environment? You know, should that be left up to our government officials, to other folks, or, you know, how do we answer that question? What is meaningful access and participation? And then when you really start exploring environments and you really start looking more critically at those environments, in terms of, can somebody in a wheelchair access that last row over there or that middle row? I mean, there's stairs here. So, you know, when you start critically looking at your environment, you can start seeing that there are physical barriers that have been set up. So how do we overcome that? You know, and who has the authority to answer those questions? You know, so it's very complicated. So that's what I call, when we talk about the leadership model within the class, we talk about those adaptive challenges. It's not an easy answer ever, you know, to kind of tackle those issues, but we need to start thinking about them. And once we reflect and there's awareness increased, then we need to take action. And sometimes, like I said, taking that action is very, very risky in some situations, because you might be, and my students should know this, you might be turning up the heat on an issue that other people don't want to talk about. You know, so you're putting stress on an issue that people want to ignore it. That's the elephant in the room, and nobody wants to talk about it. So it's a complex, you know, complex issues to deal with. Okay,
Yeah.
Are we ready?
I think so.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm ready.
I do want to, you know, Karen introduced her dancers. I do want to introduce one of my students, Michael. He's going to be playing his instrument for the improv dance. So we want to welcome both the dancers and Michael.
So we work with an improvisational structure to get raw material. Once I see something I like, I'll say, do that again, and we try to form it into choreography. But what they're going to show you right now is a structure. And these are just the rules of the game that they're playing with. And I'm going to tell you the rules, and I want you to see if you can pick them out. They're going to start in solo form, internal focus, and find a moment of a stillness that they share together. They're going to repeat that twice. Internal solo and finding stillness, a shape that they can share together. The third time, they are going to try that again, moving closer together, and they're going to find a shape closer together. Through the space, they're going to start a trio work where they share movement, they share space, they share level, they share timing, they listen to the music. They're very engaged with each other. From there, there's a sensation of touch. Skin on skin, bone on bone, muscle on muscle. How do we connect with each other with our other intimate body parts? You know, as the music builds, they're going to add more energy to the dance, more energy. They're going to find their own way to the end. They've never performed this before. And I hope the music works. Find stillness. Begin. know, there might be 2 seconds or 10 seconds of that material that I'll say, wow, I really like that. So I will grab that 10 seconds and I'll choreograph it or finesse it or change it. So this is how we come to the movement, right, as a group. So what I would like to do, and Michael's going to help us, we're going to take a very simple structure, walking through the space and stopping as a group and sharing shapes or following each other. And it's a very simple thing that you can, you know, anyone who wants to volunteer, so maybe we can just do walking and following each other. Yeah, so let's just show them that. So here we go, simply. So you're walking through the space and you find some type of a partnership. And there's some type of copying going on, copying or translation of the copying, right? And then a pause. So that's the structure, right? Walking through the space, copying someone you see or you connect to, and moving that shape and finding a pause. Okay, so, oh great, volunteers, okay. So I'll sort of give you verbal directions to help you out, and Michael, you can just do your thing. So here's the music. It's a little rhythmical. You hear it, Michael? Got it? All right, here we go. And walk through the space and travel through the space and travel and travel and travel. Keep traveling and forward and backwards and sidewards and walk. Travel, travel. Now copy. Copy something. Copy. Copy someone. Copy something. Be very clear with your translation and pause. Now travel very quickly and go fast, 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 fast. You can play. Fast, 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 fast. And find someone to share a shape and share. Dialogue share. 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 Nice connection. Beautiful. Keep going. And find a pause and pause. Feel the stillness. Feel the beauty in the stillness. Here we go, and faster, faster to the faster running, jumping, running, jumping, running, jumping, running, jumping, turning. And share, communicate, communicate, communicate. Share something and communicate. And find a pause. Now do the whole thing again without my voice. You're on your own. Go. Louder, Michael, louder. Louder, yeah, loud. Let me hear you play. Go, play. slowly come together as a group, together as a group, 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 group. So great. Oh my goodness. Thank you. You were wonderful. Let's hear your names.
Victoria.
Victoria.
Carlos Luis.
Luis.
Carlos Luis.
Carlos.
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Diana.
Diana.
Mariana.
Let's give them that's very brave. Very brave. So, did you want to do Q&A?
Sure. Absolutely. Hold on. Let me just ask Michael. Michael, do you want to now go crazy with the Congo?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Would you like to hear Michael?
I want to hit the bongo, bro.
Slow it down. Awesome. You can go if you want to sit over there. No? All right. Michael. Okay. Q&A?
Yes.
I know there's some questions, right? So Jamie, there's a question.
My question is for Karen. What meaning does it have for you to have won a Lifetime Achievement Award, and what impact, if any, has this award had on your work?
A Lifetime Achievement Award? Oh my God, I got that many years ago. Yeah, this is all, I've received many awards, but you got to keep yourself humble and go in there day in and day out, and that's really what it's all about. Now is a chance to tell you that the dance company received the Knight Foundation Award, so we're going to produce Forward Motion. I hope you keep your ears out. Maybe Pioneer will share your emails with me. Forward Motion next September 2018, 1 week of teacher training, workshops, conferences, with Conduco from London and Access Dance Company from San Francisco, the best in the world. And I really hope that it's going to be fantastic dance performance. If you're interested in training as a teacher or just learning some basic skills to share with your clients or your students, it's going to be a fantastic workshop. But that was a good question. Thank you for the lead-in.
What inspired each of you to start dancing? Whoever.
Well, I saw Karen back in '91, I think it was, and was very moved by the work, but thought, I can't do that. And years passed, and I went to see them do a rehearsal performance, and
And how many years have you worked with me?
It's been since 2006.
Right,
So
sometime.
this is 11.
Right. Woof. God, look at all the gray hairs here. There.
I actually graduated from FIU with a degree in dance. You were my age, but 10 years ago, maybe not 10. I was always more of a classical, traditional ballet dancer as I was younger. I never really experienced improvisational dance till I really started working with Karen, that kind of language of improv and in the moment creation. But once I found that, it was like opened up my eyes and I found a whole new experience. And then working with her company was the first company that I worked with straight out of school, and I just learned so much as a person, as an artist, working with these amazing ladies and everyone in the company. Really opened my eyes, because before this I didn't really know of mixed ability dance and I wasn't really exposed to it. So this was my first. And now that I'm here, I really can't imagine being in any other environment.
With me, I grew up very culturalized. My parents brought me to dance performances, and I go to my parents, I want to do that one day, and they look at me like, you're crazy. And no, I say, I'm gonna be out there one day, and I went to Miami Days in 1989, and I saw a fire, Karen's fire, and I called her, and 2 weeks later, she called me, and here I am. I'm one of the founding members,
Right.
cast members,
Right.
and here at FIU 25 years ago, I was the first and only physical disabled person in the dance program. So,
Any other questions?
Can't see the audience,
I know,
really.
it's hard.
Yeah.
No?
Anyone else? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
I really love seeing her performance. That was really interesting because I also dance as well, and I'm not used to seeing mixed ability. So on that note, because I know like the larger dance world is so driven by like how high you can put your leg and how flexible you are. What do you guys think are the biggest challenges, but also the biggest rewards about having a mixed ability dancer?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges is winning over your audience. You know, and I've been doing this a long time, and people come out of the theater and they just say, wow, I didn't expect this. I mean, how many times have we heard that? Winning over your audience, and also there needs to be better training for people with disabilities. You know, if you want to be a ballet dancer, you go to ballet class. You want to learn Horton, you go to the Ailey School. In some of the better, more competitive companies in the country, they have dance class for their company members across the board. If you can't tendu or passe, there is a different movement that translates, so you all take class together, you know. So that, and audience, there's still some barriers, there's some prejudicial things. There are funders who just say this is social work. Oh, this is therapy. No, this is art. I am not a therapist. I am really not a disability activist. I really am an artist. And I really love to make dances, and I love to dance. So, yeah, I hope I answered your question, yeah. I always get passionately involved in my responses. Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah.
the challenges for me
Yeah.
is I have cerebral palsy, and it's the most limiting disability in the company, and they ask me, how you dance? And I'm the only one that's out with her. Well, this is a dance. Even more freedom is a dance. Even if you lose your eyeballs, it's a dance. So that's what I say.
I think there's a different language. I mean, you ballet, you conjure, you create, you elevate, but for me, this is very human. And to share this as humans and to share it as a human moving and really connecting on a deeper level to another human, which is something I think even in society don't always get to do. So when people come up to dance with us, it's very, even if you're not a dancer, we're still connected because it's very personal and it's very real. So that's
If all humans have an expression, I really appreciated all the words that you shared today because everybody has a voice, and however that voice is projected, if it's through movement, if it's through singing, if it's through playing the piano, if it's through painting, if it's through sculpting, everybody's got a voice, and to give you that opportunity to share that with your human beings. And that's how we get to know each other. I'll never forget when John answered a question that how dance, how improv, you learn about people so quick on an elevator. And I said, well, let's ride the elevator down to the 100th floor, and then maybe that will.
yeah, there's no, and then even when we've gone to other countries, like Karen was saying, we don't speak the language, but we're just humans. And we all, and we feel the same things, we all think, we all believe, like we're just people. And dance strips away any preconceived notions. And for me, as an improvisation dancer, that's what it does for me. This is where I feel the most genuine, the most like so yeah.
This is where I feel the most free. I don't feel as free as in everyday world, but when I'm on stage, I could do things that I can't normally do on an everyday basis. It just comes out on stage. So that's what we do it.
And some of the words that I think, we just heard right now: freedom, authenticity, participation, human connection and interaction. I mean, those are all, words with so many layers, underneath those, the ability to really connect with others. And that's why I think in my particular class, that adaptive leadership model is what I really support, because it's about interaction, making human connections in order to mobilize and influence people to a desired goal. So some of those words have really resonated with me and sort of the work that I've been doing with my students in the IDH class. Any other questions or maybe comments or observations?
I think that what you guys did today, put together the dance and the music, was beautiful, because it's musical, it was the dance, and he did such a great job.
Nice job, Michael. Nice job, Michael. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pioneer,
Yes.
for the idea to bring it all together, and Luli for facilitating it.
Starting off doing this company with mixed ability, how did the people around you react to it? Because, I mean, you're a classical dancer, and everyone's trying to start something new here in Miami.
Well, it's really interesting. Some people have always been very supportive, and I'm going to give a plug for Danny Lewis. He's always, from the beginning, even when New World School of the Arts didn't have that building, they were in a totally different building. He supported, sort of my vision and, the performances. You're always going to find someone who's a little skeptical. Like, I remember the first time I applied for grants, they put me in the social category, social work, yeah, I think still today, I have learned to be a better cheerleader for my work, because I am very proud of it. And I'm now a member of Dance USA, who has a facility group for mixed ability dance. It's nationwide, And believe me, every single national group throughout the country, they are rooting for mixed ability dance. And there's only one way to tell people about it, is to tell people about it. So, yeah, that's what I've learned to do more of. Good question. One more question before?
I don't have a question or a comment. I just wanted to say that as someone living with disabilities, it was really emotional to watch, and it made me really happy. So thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Nice. Thank
Beautiful.
you.
I think this is a wrap.
Yeah, nice way to end.
Thank you.